Hopefully this camera still works. I haven't picked it up in what feels like forever. And speaking of things I haven't used in forever, the Granada. I think we're going to go ahead and see if we can't pull it out of here, because it has been sitting for a long time. I don't even know how long. Let's just put it this way, this tree wasn't as big when I parked it here. I don't even think the branch was all the way over the trunk. So it's been here a while. I think some animals have kind of made their home underneath it. So I'm going to go ahead and air up the tires if I can. And my brother's coming today, so when he gets here I'll bring the tractor back here. We'll hook a chain to it and see if we can pull her out. Hopefully we can. Yeah, we ain't got air in none of them, I don't think. But I got my little compressor out here, so we'll fill them up and maybe get this thing running again. Well, amazingly, 3 of these tires actually had a little bit of air left in them and pumped right up. Unfortunately, this one here in the back, half buried in the dirt, didn't want to take any air. So I think what I'm going to do is grab my jack, stick it under there, see if I can jack it up, and maybe bring out my air tank and see if I can give her a good enough blast to get it to take air again. And then hopefully we'll be able to drag it out of here. I'm sure the brakes aren't locked up or anything. I'm going to drag her out of here if we have to, but we'll get her back to the shop and take a look at it anyway. Alright, we got her chained up to the tractor here. My brother stopped by, and that tire wouldn't take any air. So let's go ahead and set you on some piece of junk over here, and you can watch us try to pull this thing out. Got any neutral?
No. Won't kick in the neutral.
Won't come out of gear?
No.
Turn the wheel.
Yeah. It's because the brakes aren't there? You gotta turn the key.
So I got it neutral now.
Fancy goddamn cars.
I know. Well, you drove it for how long?
Well, it's been 15 years.
13 at best. Well, there we go. She came right out. Yeah, like I said, we're gonna have to get a new tire for that, but that's all right. I didn't even lose my valve stem cap. Clean off some of this pine needle crap while we're here. And I think we'll just drag her to the garage. Well, that's why the fuel pump don't work. There's my fuel pump wire, all chewed up and nasty. I have to fix that. Well, let's get her back up to the shop. Well, we managed to drag her out from the trees and away from all the deer flies into the garage so I can actually work on it here. And I think the first thing I'm going to do is probably crawl under here and fix this wire that goes to the fuel pump. See if the fuel pump even works, and if there's anything in the tank, I'll drain that out. I don't think there was much when I parked it, but you never know. Probably a bunch of crap in there now. And flush that out. Hook it up. I gotta fix, I think, the dipstick tube where it connects to the transmission. I think that was leaking, and that's where all my fluid was going, which is one of the reasons I parked it and never drove it anywhere. And then I suppose we'll get into the trunk and see if there's a spare in there. I have no idea. Haven't even sat in this car yet. Let's see. Do we have any brakes? Well, the pedal moves. Doesn't seem to want to stop. Well, let's see if we can break into the trunk here. See if there's a spare. Well, this was a heck of a car, 20 years ago. Really nice shape. Came from Arizona. There is a spare, and there ain't nothing jumping out at me yet, so that's good. What have you got here? Ooh, fix-a-flat. Gotta have that. But yeah, it's actually fairly, it's dirty, but it's clean. It ain't all rusted out, so see if that spare holds here, I suppose, and we'll put that on there for now, in case I actually perform a miracle and get it running. But yeah, I think we're going to start with that fuel pump and just see what's going on. I just noticed I got a little little bit of rust here on the trunk starting. That wasn't there before. Yeah, it ain't that bad. How's the inside? Yeah, she's a little rusty there. I guess when you park her under the pine trees, it's the price you pay. Alright, we're making progress. Got the back end jacked up here, and went ahead and crawled under there, hot wired that pump, threw a couple gallons of gas in it, gallon and a half, 2 gallons, whatever, and ran the pump. The pump works, and I've got it just draining out into this can here, letting gravity take it for now, and get all that old stuff out, and starting to run a wire the exact wrong way, but I don't care for now. It's just to see if we can hook it up and make it run. And sometime down the line I'll have to get some shielding routed a bit different, but for now it'll work. And then I suppose we'll hook the line back up, throw a couple more gallons of fresh gas in it, and see if it'll crank over, see if it'll start. Probably end up sucking up all these pine needles and acorns and whatever else some ice drug in. And hopefully this thing ain't locked up. It's been sitting quite a while, but it might be okay. We'll find out. I'll get the wire run and see if we can make it work. Alright, I've got the fuel pump wired, haphazardly wired in with wire nuts, the way it should be. The wire is just dangling down there. That should be fine. Went ahead and added a couple more gallons of fresh gas, because the stuff that came out of it was pretty nasty. Battery, this one's too big for that, so we're just going to mount it here for now. And I turned the key, and the fuel pump came on and squirted a bit of gas in there. So now I think I'm just going to turn the key on, and we'll watch and see if it sprays gas out of anywhere, because it just might. I hear it running, but oh yeah, see, it's starting to leak, so we're gonna have to fix that before we go trying to start it up. Where else is it leaking? Fuel pump accelerator's leaking. That's always good. And yeah, the filter's leaking. At least I can see there's gas in it. Yeah, we'll clean that up and yeah, see if we can maybe make it quit leaking. Well, I went ahead and hit the throttle a couple of times, and she's definitely squirting fuel, not only out of the top but out of the bottom as well. You can see that dripping down there, but that accelerator pump's leaking pretty good. I think what I might do is just turn it over to see if it'll turn over and it's not locked up, and we won't fire it, because I'm going to have to go through that carburetor, I think, unless I do have another carburetor on the LTD that might fit there. And we'll see where it goes. Let's see if it cranks first. Alright, I've gone ahead and unplugged the coil, and we're just going to see if it cranks. I would fire it up, but There's a pretty strong odor of gasoline in here, and I've got open headers, so they're probably not the best idea, but we'll turn it on and see if it cranks anyway. Oh yeah. She cranks. If we can get that carburetor to stop pissing gasoline, I think she'll fire up. Alright, I've been doing a little bit of work on the Granada here the last few days. As you can see, I got the carburetor off, and sure enough, the accelerator pump diaphragm had a big hole in it and was leaking all over the place. So I've got that ordered. Also went ahead and pulled the dipstick tube out. And I got to put a new O-ring on there, new seal. So hopefully that'll take care of my transmission leak. And I went ahead and tidied up the wire going to the fuel pump there. Got some wire shield on it. Got it run back and kind of zip tied up out of the way. I did find a few other problems. I've got a power steering fluid leak. It's coming out of the boot on this side. So I don't know if maybe it was just sitting so long it seeped out and then collected in the boot, and then when I turned the wheel it came out. Or if I'm going to have a gusher when I fire this thing up, but that's yet to be seen. Went ahead and I put the spare tire on there. That was flat, so once we get it rolling we can actually move it around. Also found out I have a brake leak because when this was sitting, the gophers kind of built up dirt right around here. Probably pulled 10 pounds out of the frame here. You can see it's still packed with sand in there. I'm gonna have to blow that out. But the gophers also chewed up my brake line, so I'm gonna have to replace that. I got that on order. And while I was under here looking around, I figured the springs were wore out and sagging, and the shocks are no good, so I got those on order. I don't know if you're gonna be able to hear it. See if I don't know if you can hear that thump, but that's the shock on the bottom there. It's loose, bumping all around, so we'll take care of all that before we go too far with it. But hopefully, once I get that diaphragm, we can throw the carburetor on. I can throw the dipstick back in for the transmission, fill that up, and we can fire it up and see how she runs, see if the transmission still works, and then keep fixing on her from there. Alright, I think we're finally ready to give this thing a try and see if it's going to fire up once I put the plug the coil back in anyway. Well, anyway, once I do that, I've got the accelerator pump diaphragm in there, so hopefully that won't leak again. I got the dipstick O-ring on and the dipstick back in. Went ahead and I filled up the power steering fluid reservoir, so we'll see if that gushes out or if it's not that big of a deal. Still got to add a little coolant, but it's got some in it. Probably going to have to top off the transmission fluid, but it should be fine to fire up and see if it runs, and hopefully all that stuff doesn't catch fire. I don't think we'll run it that long. Well, let's go ahead and see if it's going to work for me. Alright, I think we're ready to give it a try. I haven't primed the carburetor at all. It's completely dry. I'm hoping to crank it a little bit before it actually fires. Maybe build up a little bit of oil pressure, but whatever. Let's turn the key and see if it'll fire up. Well, there it is. Fired up and ran. And as an added bonus, it didn't even catch fire. I'm going to call that a win. Now there's still a bunch of stuff you gotta do to it. It didn't seem to want to idle, so I might have to look at the carburetor. I'll probably just run it for a bit and see if it clears up, and if it doesn't, I'll probably have to dig into it. Still got to top off all the fluids. Coolant's low. I'm sure the power steering drained down. Transmission fluid's probably low. I'll have to check that. And I'll have to fix the brake line in the back before I can try to go anywhere with it. And then once that's fixed, I can run the transmission through the gears, top that off. And I've got some springs and shocks for the rear end on their way. I'm going to put those in. And yeah, then maybe we can take it for a little spin. I didn't see a bunch of power steering fluid pouring out, so maybe our leak isn't too severe. Hopefully it's not. What else do I got to do? Oh, I got to get the taillights working. I'm sure some sort of a critter got in there and ate everything up, but maybe I'll give it a bath too once it's all together and working.